Hello, Maria. So exciting to have you on the podcast today. Go ahead and introduce yourself and the name of your business.
Yeah, thanks for having me. My name is Maria Horstmann, and my business is Fab-Be LLC. It's a small company focused entirely on helping individuals, groups, families, and corporations, especially the small corporations out there, to kind of educate and empower them to get rid of their sugar addictions, their carb addiction, to de-stress, and really to kind of rediscover vitality and happiness, and to really lead a fulfilling life. Because I think that most people, including me years ago, I was like one of those robots. And you probably can recognize with that. We see a lot of folks like that. What a robot means is you wake up in the morning, you might take a shower, maybe have your breakfast, maybe you do, maybe you don't. And then you start your work. Before, many people are driving to work. Now they're going to a little corner in the house, right? And start their work. They work anything between 8 to 10 hours. I used to work sometimes average of 15 hours a day when I was in corporate. And then you come back home, or, and watch some TV, or maybe you play with your kids or have a conversation here. You catch up over personal stuff. And you go to bed, God knows what time, because maybe the TV is on your bedroom and you're catching that. And you wake up and do the same thing next day, and you do it over and over and over, and becomes a robotic process, and life is passing by. And I think that just like I did, I was not really reaching any potential of mine. Yes, I was great at what I did in my corporate job, and I was very passionate about it. However, there was no bigger purpose other than, let's deliver this job,
Sure.
right? Which was great. It had a meaning to me. I was in finance. And so I was always kind of looking for ways to improve, that organization, right? From one way or another. And that to me was very meaningful. But, a job is a job, even if you love it. Hopefully you don't hate it. And there is more to life than a job, to pay those bills.
How did
There
you
is a
transition
purpose.
from how did you transition from corporate to opening your own business and starting kind of to do what you love?
Well, it was a very interesting thing. Actually, it was caused by a boss that I had. She instigated all this, and instigated not in the way that you might be thinking, oh, she was curious about it. No, it was a bad experience that I had. And working in an environment for me that was not one that motivated me to go to work every day. I was a nerve wreck. I was not being empowered to do my job because of the environment that was created. And so the habits, and the power that this person exerted, being a female in that case, made me really question if that the route in finance that I wanted to do is that what's going to take. It's how women put their power out there. Does that how the behavior is going to be? And I says, I don't want this. And then I started looking into the quality of life, and the team, how this whole thing, it really kind of stirred the pot inside me. And at the time, I was already kind of going to the health and wellness. I had already noticed that, hey, the path that I was in was not a healthy one. Uh, and that really triggered me to kind of think, what else, would I be happy to do every day? Happy to do. And if I didn't get paid, what would I do besides this? Because I was now questioning. I questioned many things about it. I had some really serious conversation with Maria, about it. And then I went through these scenarios of things that I really loved, and some of this is, well, I'm a little too old for that. I'm thinking, no, I'm not going to start this. This is going to compromise that, yada. And then, health and wellness became clear once a friend of mine who I had lunch with the day prior, and I told her these things in my head, I gotta figure this out, send me this article about a gentleman who was in his late 80s and had been teaching, seniors how to exercise. And I'm like, when I read that thing, and I'm like, this is it. And that, health and wellness was one of the paths, that I was evaluating. She just said, hey, based on our conversation, check this out. I thought about you. And that article changed everything for me. And from that point on, then I start getting certifications. And I says, well, one day I'll change, and all that. But there was not anytime soon. And then things evolved in the corporate world. I ended up leaving that job for another job that used to work with a former CFO that I worked with in the past. And that company ended up not doing so well as soon as I joined. Not that was my fault, obviously, but it was a new position and really made me question. It says, okay, where am I going? And that boss says, you might want to look for a new job. And I had just started, let me tell you. Okay, I had just started, right? And I couldn't. And I went into that imbalance because I was now already deep into, this health and wellness and the thought. And it says, do I really want to start all over? Because you might know, when you start a job, and I was making six figure for several years now, there is a lot of responsibility. There's a lot of responsibility. You got to show who you are. You got to work your behind quite a bit, right? And to prove to yourself and to the organization that you're worth. That's the kind of mentality. I got to a position that said, no, I'm going to give this a try. So I didn't look for another job. And eventually that company, let me go and so the entire executive team let go. But before they let me go, I said, I'm gone. And that was it, man. And then I took a leap of faith basically on this journey. And I said, look, I got the education. I got experience. I can work hard. At the time I was, getting to my 40s, right? Let me follow this passion because I was really passionate about, this topic of health and wellness. So that's how I changed. It was a very challenging year, 2014, mentally and emotionally, to make all those decisions. And I was not planning to, you know what I'm
Sure.
saying? This was not part of my plan that year to do it.
So now you've been in, 6 or 7 years in your business. Around 2014, 2015, what were some of the struggles that you had early on in your business, getting into the business? It seems from the corporate world to me that a lot of people that transition this way understand the structure of the business. So I wonder, is it time? Is it the sales and acquisition? Is it the structure or something? What was kind of some of the early pain points that reared their head early in that venture?
Well, we need a very long podcast here, but I will tell you, look, I mean, I got my MBA at Emory. I did the executive MBA at Emory, and I did that in 2009, 2010. And great program. Great program. I'm still paying some of that debt. And I don't have any
Feel that,
regrets.
sister. Trust me.
I don't have any regrets on that. You can have an MBA from a top school and have no clue when you go on your own.
Sure.
No clue. So the pains and mind that I am a very detailed person. I come from finance, where I remember spending many times, hours probably altogether, trying to find that one darn penny. Because I went through phases in my job that was deep into the accounting piece of it, doing software transitions and, moving from one software to the next bigger one, and doing all the getting deep down into the details of organization and the numbers and all that. Let me tell you, I love that kind of stuff. And when you go, as you know, move from that environment of a corporate, that you have your surroundings, you have your peeps, okay? You have your colleagues, you have your department of marketing, you have your, you know, your advertising, you have all those things, okay? All those things. None of that exists when you go by yourself. It was all me. And doing that, what happens is, and especially if you are in the detail world, you can get to nowhere. Overwhelmed. That's what I got, right? Extremely overwhelmed. I burdened myself. You know, by the time that I got to 2016, I was in with adrenal fatigue. Okay. And
Mm-hmm.
I was a coach knowing exactly what was the problem. Right. And it says, this is not good. Right. So what is the main problem for me? Okay. What I missed, and I still miss, okay, is that environment, that kind of level of accountability that you have with your colleagues in the office, you know, that you can exchange ideas, that you can bounce thoughts. I am that kind of person that, you know, I'm an idea generator too. So boom, 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 boom. Look, you cannot see it, but I have a huge 60 by 48 whiteboard over here. There was one in the back that you can see. There's another one on the wall. And you used to have more in this room, by the way. Okay. I am an idea generator. You know what happens when you're not good at everything in your business, which nobody is good at everything, especially on the marketing, which is my weakness. All right. You become overwhelmed and you don't move forward at the speed that you want, right?
Sure.
And as an idea generator, you know, I have this thing, this thought, and I'm starting to think all the steps, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And it says, oh, I'm not good at that, not good at that. Oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. And then you don't have sometimes the person to bounce ideas with and kind of get clarifications and really tell you, hey, Maria, it's okay. You start this way, move forward, you figure this out later.
Mm-hmm.
Boy, that took a while.
For sure.
That took a while.
So what it have has kind of the product changed over these 6-7 years, or is it still kind of that? Actually, just explain to me what it is, that service that you provide, and kind of who you're providing it to.
Yeah, so I work okay, most of the peeps who come to me, they want to lose weight, okay? That is their number one. Number two is they are fatigued and exhausted. Number three, their mobility. They're feeling weak in some way physically and also mentally. What is the kind of fatigue? So behind the scenes, under the weight loss, there is multiple things that drive weight loss, okay, or weight gain, let's put it this way. And a lot of the folks, they have pre-diabetes, they have blood sugar imbalance, they are overweight or obese. And some these are some of these categories. On the fatigue part, you know, they are very busy professionals. You know, they're busy, accomplished. They drive themselves into insane. Everybody else is more important than themselves, right? There is the mom, the kids, the boss, and then the grandmother, the God knows who. And then there is them. And this is especially true for women. Men are much more pragmatic into that aspect, you know, into that life. And I'm like, you know, I got to take care of this. And then, okay, this is not as important. Women, they tend to think about all these things,
Mm-hmm.
right? So the fatigue becomes like a mental fatigue, right? And that fatigue, in a way, which was part of my case as well, it's because you don't know when to stop. You're always going and going and going. And that could be driven by stress, high levels of stress, could be driven by, you know, poor nutrition deficiencies, could be driven by poor quality of sleep, right? And you know, all those things are creating all these imbalances that cause sometimes this weight gain that we're talking about. It's creating this blood sugar imbalance, it's creating this insulin resistance, and so on, like that. And the physical aspect of it, you know, I'm a personal trainer, I'm a health and wellness, I call, editor, because it's about editing the story that you have today, so you don't continue that story. And that story is about your health and wellness, which is about your life. It's about living your best life. You know, from a physical perspective, Now that expands in many ways. Um, Women especially are, they like to take their walks, and it's great. You go to a gym. Not many people are going to the gyms, but always has been what the women are the treadmill. you know,
Sure.
that they're in some ways afraid um, eh, to do the weight training. Okay, and that fear is coming from stories that they tell themselves, the stories of the media, things that they grew up with, or they're really feeling that they're unqualified to kind of start doing weights, or they feel very intimidated by the process because, oh my God, we got to do the legs, got to do this, got to do that, and they don't want to plan. They don't know how to plan. They are afraid of getting injured because they haven't done much. So gets to a time on the women's life that now they're thinking, okay, they look at themselves in the mirror, they don't feel as attractive, they see, there's not much muscle going on over there. Now they understand the dangers of osteoporosis, which in women after the age of 35, you start losing about 1% of bone density a year, up to a 1% a year. So, and if you don't exercise other than that walking or maybe that little jogging or your step or whatever, you're not challenging your muscles, you're not challenging your brain, you're not challenging your flexibility, your balance. Now it becomes potentially a kind of, okay, if I fall, I can break a hip. And let me tell you, that goes downhill quickly.
Sure.
Men is a little different. Men, they're getting, they a lot of men exercise, but get men into their 50s is starting to kind of drop that because they don't feel maybe as powerful as they used to, right? So now you go to the gym and now the ego of men start getting impacted in a way. And they think they're okay because they look all right, in a way. But then they start doing some cardiovascular, even from burst exercises to lifting some stuff, and they feel, dang, not good. Or, the problems down in the sexual area start, right? And they don't want to tell anybody, but that is in their mind because they don't have the drive as much, or they're saying, when they could be saying yes, but they're feeling uncomfortable about it. Or even is the doctor that say, hey, you gotta take a look at your health over here because this is not looking well. So men are going to look into the fitness and into their health in general, uh, often later than women, right? Because of some of these things that we discussed. It's a very interesting thing to kind of work with men and women and seeing what is truly important, and the age difference, as far as one starts, okay, this is a worry now, or why this is a worry between the two genders. And it's quite interesting. So yes, I'm a health editor working on this kind of levels of concerns, I want to say, or imbalances, and I'm a personal trainer, and I work with individuals, creating plans, for them. It's very unique in that case if it is a one-on-one. So it's basically listening to what they're going through, what their dreams are, because it's all about, what are you here for? It's not about just being healthy. I mean, people say, I want to be healthy. And I says, that's not an answer, that is going to get you to actually change your behavior. The change the behavior is there is something much bigger, and one male actually client that I had, and he was very superficial when I start digging into this. Why is this important to you? This is like being a guy, like, yeah, don't want to get into the details of stuff, you know, whatever. And I kept pushing one way or another. All of a sudden the guy said, and he was an accountant. He owned his own business, an accountant. And he says, I don't want to end up in a wheelchair like some of the clients of mine. And that was it. As in the moment the guy said, the moment that he finally realized, he sat down, right? Because I hadn't thought about this. He says, I haven't thought about this, but I do not want to end up in a wheelchair of some of these people that I help with their finances. I want to age, okay? And I want to travel with my wife. I want to play with my grandchildren. I want to enjoy life. I don't want to be like that. And I says, now that's got to be a reason for you to change. Now we got something that we can drive, that we can pick that little wheelchair conversation in that picture, that now you're going to create a little mini vision board over there with that wheelchair. And it says, I want to do this. I'm going to stick with this. I'm going to do this. I'm going to implement this thing. I'm going to become consistent because I don't want that.
For sure.
That's what we need, you know?
What does that solution look like? Is it more of an exercise and coaching? Is it more of a nutrition standpoint? Is it more of an education and resources and or supplement standpoint? What does that package look like that, as you're kind of taking someone under your wing, you want to kind of walk them down this journey? What are the actual services that you're rendering for those people?
Yeah, it's all the above. Really depends, right? It depends on the person's goals, So I'll give an example. One of my latest clients, so also male, and then it's just funny that it's this male examples are coming, maybe because you are a male and I'm talking to you, but actually the majority of my clients are female. Okay, I want to say that it's about 80% female, 20% male. Okay, so his thing is he's actually has changed quite a bit, his lifestyle. But you know what? He's got diabetes. He's got diabetes. He knows he's got a blood sugar problem. His nutrition is much better than what used to be. Okay, that's because he has taken some action. He started educating himself, digging into some research and all that kind of stuff, right? And he came to me because he says, I need a better control of this. And I'm doing these things and I'm not moving as fast as I would like. So in that case, I see this guy as a very focused. He's got time on his hands, okay, to kind of focus a little bit. He's on his 60s, so he's still working, but he's got some time. He's very focused on his health right now. So in that case, we're doing a short, we're doing like a month program with him just to get him started. And then we're going to see what comes after. So we're going to dive into his nutrition because that's indispensable for blood sugar, management. And in that also, there is sleep problems in there, which sleep problems are going to create blood sugar imbalances as well. It's going to create that fatigue because the guy's not doing as much with his life because he feels fatigued, right? And so could the nutrient deficiencies be causing that fatigue? Yes. Could they sleep? Absolutely. Why is he not sleeping? A lot of times, his habits, right? Hygiene could be also nutrient deficiencies that are causing that person not to sleep very well, and multiple things. Then his stress, there is some stress, but it's not like on the level 9 or 10. So we're going to discuss that, but not to spend so much time. We're going to dive deep, very deep into his blood sugar. We're going to track it. And we're going to understand. He's going to understand his body in a way that he has not done before. Because it's like, yeah, I track once, here and there, I take my blood sugar, and metric, and says, no, we're going to dive deep. So, and from an exercise perspective, he is going for walks every day. Imagine if the guy was not doing walks. Is walking the best for him to attack his diabetes? It is good, okay? Because if he was not walking, it would be a greater problem. But is that the most efficient way? No, it's not. Actually, strength training with some burst exercise, which is kind of, high intensity, short, but out there, that's going to be the most efficient for him because it's going to train his muscles, okay, to pick up glucose and work that glucose. So, and many other things. It's going to help with what? Also, his sleep, right? So, you see, and days that he's stressed out, right? It's going to help even more with the stress. So there is multiple things, that as a coach over here, because I do both, I can look, and it depends on the priority. A person, and we are going to identify really where's the person needs the most help with, right? And then going to put the plan to get them moving forward. And some people work with me for multiple months, right? 3 3 months, 6 months, whatever. Some people do only personal training. I have some women in their, 50s and 60s. All they do is personal training, right? Some of them have osteopenia. Some of them have osteoporosis, right? Some of them, they're busy professionals still, they don't want to go to a gym. They feel intimidated, but you know what? They can have me from their houses, right? Once or twice a week, whatever they choose. And I keep them accountable throughout the rest of the week. So they feel comfortable with their form, where they're going, they have a direction, and they know what to do on their own as well, right? So that brings what people comfort. I have somebody professional that is helping, and they see the results. Why? Because they're staying on track. And then I have some people who just come for coaching, because there's not a single person, okay, not one individual out there who is saying that I don't need supplements. Our food, is not the same. We don't have the nutrients. You buy even the organic, you compare the organic food, which is less exposed to the crap that the soil is and the conventional food is still not the same arugula and nutrients of arugula 50 years ago or 100 years ago. And there's it's almost impossible to eat it, what we all need, considering the life that we lead today, a very stressful, and with we work a lot, and we don't eat proper, we're not hydrated quite well, we don't move as much, and we sleep less. So the people who say I don't need supplement, and it says, well, we're gonna have to have a little conversation here, because
Sure.
there is a need for that. So it's a multifaceted approach, and really depends on the individual, but I do genetic testing as well, which, I was my own guinea pig years ago, because, we know from science, from epigenomics, that we can change the direction of those genes. It's about the expression of these genes, right? So now I have plenty of crappy stuff, man, plenty. Okay, which kind of explain a lot of things, right? From my addiction to
Sure.
sugar, to gut imbalances. It's all there. Now I have a choice. I have a choice. You have a choice. Everybody has a choice, right? So yeah, there is multiple things that I will focus, and bring tools to kind of help the person to progress to the next level.
Well, tell me, I think a lot of our audience, our connections, our referral partners, our clients are those busy entrepreneurs, busy parents, people that can easily get overwhelmed with all of the information that you kind of get shotgunned at you from a health and wellness perspective these days. If someone was to want to reach out to you and gain some more information, possibly sign up for the program and kind of go under your wing, how is it that people would find you and get a hold of you?
Yeah, it's great. First of all, I offer, a complimentary session that I call the Energy Audit. Okay, from coming from accounting, right, and finance, that's great audit. So,
Yeah.
and energy, because I really consider that health is the same as energy. You know, if we don't have the energy, we're not living. We're not living well. Our cells over here, every single one of them is generating ATP. It's energy. It's
Hmm.
energy not only to do things, but it's energy in each one of our organs. Everything is about energy that we generate. So from what we eat, to what we think, to what we do, to what we drink, to the thoughts that we have, to the words that we say, all those things are going to impact the energy, because it's impacting our hormones, right? As well. So I offered this energy audit where I kind of, have this conversation. This is where you're at, what kind of dreams you have in your life over here. And we'll see if there is a fit, because I'm not the perfect coach for everybody, you know. And assuming there is a fit, then I'll help the person to put a plan together. And they can go to my website, and that is bfabbu.com. That is BEFABBEYOU.com. There you're going to be able to see, inquire about coaching, whatever. We're glad to share the links with you, and you can share that with your network and the show notes and all that kind of stuff.
I would like to have you back another time and really dive deep into one of those segments specifically. Maybe we do a couple of episodes, a nutrition episode, a movement episode, because there's so many different avenues of things there, is from your nutrition to your dexterity, strength, and speed and fitness, and your
Yeah.
gut health and cardiovascular health.
Yes.
There's so many areas there that I would like to kind of break that up and dive deeper into each of those areas, if you would come back with us. But I want to wrap it up about there. But I really do appreciate you coming on. I want to ask, before we go, how can we help? Is there anything specifically that we can do over at Burn the Ship to kind of influx your business?
Yeah, look, man, sharing this, it's a way of helping, right? Sharing this podcast with your community, and also, you know, we are all, like you said, you help companies of all sizes. These are folks working a lot, most of the cases, and they're passionate about what they're doing, just like I'm passionate as an individual. I don't want what happened to me, okay, happen to other folks. We gotta come. Look, I talk a lot about the health village, okay, because it's not one doctor, it's not one specialist, it's not one coach, it's not one trainer, it's not one chiropractor. It's a village, right? And we need to come together, literally to come together, to continue to say, hey, if you're not feeling well, if you know you could be doing better for yourself, right? You got to take a look at your current lifestyle. And when I say lifestyle, is lifestyle choices regarding your nutrition, about your stress, about your sleep, about your movement. I call movement with intention, and the toxicity in your life, right? And many other aspects, looking into, okay, that indigestion that you have, that constipation, those ups and downs, irritability, that brain fog, these are all signs. We cannot just sit here and look at the colleague who is not well and is complaining and just, oh yeah, man, I know how it is. Let's help that village, So say, hey, I know somebody, so here it is. Hey, I did a podcast with this young lady over here, and not so young anymore, and share that. And I have my own podcast. People are welcome to join my podcast. Is now in episode 5, and I'm having a lot of fun. I've been talking a lot about mindset, about goals and settings.
We'll
And
share that as well. What's your podcast called?
yeah, it's called Be Fab-Be You Made Simple. And you can find that in Apple, iTunes, and so on. You can also go to befabbu.com/podcast. Then you can get that information as well. Cool. And you can sign up to receive daily emails and all that. But, Spotify and Apple and Google Podcast, they're all there. And I'm having some great feedback from folks because they're short episodes. They're short. I'm trying to keep it about 15 minutes average. So people can wake up in the morning, listen to the thing, and is delivering 3 things. Basically, a story that's related to a human,
Sure.
What is a circumstance, an education piece, and a call to action. And here's what you can do. So if you want to work on it, man, you're getting some amazing tools. It's a matter of, okay, am I going to do this, right?
Sure.
So it's to inspire people to keep taking actions, small steps.
We'll share this podcast. We'll share your podcast as well, and I'll definitely stay in touch with you and try to drive some people your way and continue the dialogue, because you're obviously very knowledgeable. You're obviously very knowledgeable within this space. So I would love to continue the dialogue. I really do appreciate you coming on today. I can't wait for another opportunity to do this.
Yeah, let's do it, man. There is lots of topics, and maybe the next one we talk maybe about exercise from perspective of brain health, and longevity. Because I think especially for business owners and busy individuals out there is something that we're not maybe fully aware how to take exercise, not from a weight loss perspective, but really for this guy. Keep us sharp.
Awesome. Well, I'm looking forward to it. We'll put it on the calendar as we get up. Thank you for coming on. I appreciate you. I'll be in touch with you soon.
Thank you, man. Have a good day.
See you.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.